It's Thursday, October 22nd, and this is now on HNN.
People on Lanai are very concerned.
A cluster of COVID-19 cases is growing on Lanai.
We're going to be managing our capacity loads. Oahu enters Tier 2 of reopening, easing more COVID-19 restrictions.
Leslie, we hand out thousands of masks.
But you look out and they're not wearing them.
The White House releases a 60 Minutes interview with President Trump days before it was set to air. I'm Chris Van Cleve in Washington. Why they released the interview? Coming up.
It's like two kindergartners going at it.
President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden are gearing up for their final face-off. I'm Natalie Brand in Nashville with what advisors are saying about the candidates' strategies heading into tonight's debate.
These stories, plus an extremely valuable work of art, was stolen on the Big Island. Details just ahead on This Is Now.
Good afternoon, thanks for watching This Is Now. I want to begin with a live video feed coming into the Digital Center from Nashville. This is where the second and final presidential debate will take place in just hours. President Trump and Joe Biden both going to be there. Lots of changes to this debate format, and we are going to have much more on that coming up in just a second. But first, let's get to your latest coronavirus numbers.
State health officials say 3 more Oahu patients with COVID-19 have died, bringing Hawaii's official death toll to 206. DOH is also reporting 102 new infections today. 52 cases are on Oahu, 29 on the Big Island, and 18 in Maui County. Officials are scrambling to contain a growing outbreak on Lanai that some fear could reach triple digits. We spoke to State Representative Linda Coit, who says the island has at least 22 cases right now, with more test results pending. Here's what she had to say.
And what we got back from the community was the request to lock Lanai down. So today, Senator English and I will be on a conference call with the governor at 11:15, making that request on behalf of Lanai. It came by recommendation of Dr. Wise. In order for us to stop this, we are going to have to lock Lanai down, and he's recommending 14 days. We are getting a bit of pushback right now for some that do not want us to do that, but if not, we have kupuna there that are, we're very concerned about, as well as the rest of the island.
We've entered Tier 2 in Oahu's recovery plan. That means some restrictions will be eased, while other businesses will be required to remain shut down. Here's Casey Lund with the latest details.
There are quite a few changes as we transition into Tier 2. Some of the big takeaways include the fact that you can now go to a restaurant with up to 5 people outside of your household. Legal short-term vacation rentals can resume operations. Arcades can resume operations in a limited capacity. Movie theaters can also serve food and drinks now, as long as they are only operating at 50% capacity. And possibly one of the biggest changes that folks have been looking forward to are gyms being able to resume indoor activity, again, with a limited capacity. We're here at the Pearl City location for 24-hour fitness, where they've transformed a part of their parking garage, 25,000 square feet, into an outdoor facility so their members could work out under Tier 1. We spoke to the managers this morning about their plans to transition into Tier 2 and resume indoor activity later this week.
So we open tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., back to our normal hours, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we're going to be managing our capacity loads manually, but we're going to make sure we have all of our safety protocols in line.
And I think safety is the most important thing. We want to make sure our team members and members are safe. From the very beginning, we have protocols in place where we've spaced out the equipment, so there's a safe distance between members. We have a touchless check-in on our 24Go app as well too, so 24-hour fitness is straight away where you don't have to use your finger or bring your ID, less surfaces, less check-ins. We have multiple cleaning stations throughout the gym, Purell dispensers. In addition to that, all team members have PPE. We do temperature checks in the morning for team members. Then we require PPE from members as well too.
Now, under the city's reopening plan, Oahu will be in Tier 2 as long as the 7-day average for cases is between 50 and 100, and the positivity rate is between 2.5 and 5%. As of yesterday, the 7-day average for new cases on Oahu was 64. The positivity rate was at 2.9%. There are concerns that Oahu will see an increase in COVID-19 infections now that tourism has resumed, with visitors coming to the islands through the state's pre-travel testing program. Here's what Mayor Caldwell said yesterday, pleading with Honolulu residents to remain vigilant.
That result rests in our hands, in our visitors' hands, and we got to make sure that everyone knows what those requirements are, starting with our visitors now who are arriving and need more education than they're receiving.
Oahu will have to stay in Tier 2 for at least 4 weeks before moving into Tier 3. If the case counts stay down, Oahu would need to see a 7-day average of 20 to 49 new cases and a positivity rate of 1 to 2.49%. If the average counts go back up, again, we could slide back into Tier 1. Nobody wants that, so a lot of folks, especially gym owners and those other businesses that are allowed to ease some of the restrictions with Tier 2, are really hoping we stay on track and continue to make progress fighting COVID-19. Reporting at 24-Hour Fitness, Pearl City, I'm Casey Lund for This Is Now.
We're a week into the tourism relaunch, and the state is scrambling to hire people to handle late arriving tests. Mark Carpenter has more on the backlog and one family who's stranded because of a lost test.
We've had, probably 5,000 tests submitted by travelers who came here and got their test after they arrived. We've cleared about 2,500, so we still have quite a few to go. But we're bringing new staff on every day to go through the tests. We added 20 people today just about to work through the backlog. So we're hoping by the end of the week to have the backlog cleared out.
When there's an issue, those applications need to be manually verified by the Safe Travels team, a process which could leave visitors in quarantine for several days. However, the Camara family from Los Angeles is dealing with an entirely different problem. They took a test at CVS 3 days before arriving in Honolulu, but had to quarantine when the results didn't come in. 5 days later, they just found out they are stuck.
They admitted to us that our tests are being labeled as missing. Completely lost. They don't know where they are. They expect that it's something to do with the people that picked up the test from their testing site and bringing it to the lab, that they got lost that way.
So because they are in quarantine, the Camaras and their 9-month-old daughter aren't even sure they can leave the hotel for a second test. And when reaching out to several state and city agencies, no resolution in sight.
It's like we have the beach right outside our window and we're not allowed to go there. I guess they didn't think of this, that the test result could actually be lost. They just think of it like, you just sit and wait until you get the results, but no one thought about them being lost. There's got to be a way for us to get another test.
Mayor Kirk Caldwell said he and the state are working on a solution to address those types of situations, one of which would be rapid testing set up at the airport. Unfortunately for the Camaras, a vacation that's already been rescheduled several times due to COVID may just end up being a 14-day hotel stay. Mark Carpenter, Hawaii News Now.
Meanwhile, we're learning more about the state's voluntary surveillance testing program. 10% of all travelers who tested negative are asked to take a second COVID test 4 days after arrival. Lieutenant Governor Josh Green says so far, all those tests have come back negative, but it's unclear how many people have actually been tested. We wanted to check in with CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg, so today I hopped on his Facebook Live forum and asked how he thinks the state's pre-travel testing program is going so far. Here's what he had to say.
And I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. It's been rocky, I have to tell you this. Not everybody's behaving. The reports that I'm getting are too many people in pools and too many people partying in closed quarters. It's Hawaii, guys. You don't always have to be at the bar. So we're waiting to see how they're going to enforce that. Remember, prior to them reopening, they really enforced their quarantine. And right now, they're getting about close to 5,000 visitors a day. That's way below what they normally get, but that's 5,000 more than they had a week ago. Let's see how they handle it.
Southwest Airlines took a major financial hit this year. Now the company is making big changes to mitigate more losses. Southwest will start selling every seat on flights starting December 1st. During the pandemic, middle seats were blocked out to help passengers spread out. In an earnings report released today, the airline cited findings by medical and aviation organizations as a reason for resuming normal sales. A Department of Defense study found wearing masks protected passengers from airborne transmission because of the airflow systems used on planes. Delta is now the only major U.S. carrier limiting the number of passengers on flights. Meanwhile, Hawaiian Airlines is planning to restore routes to all 13 cities it serves on the mainland starting December. That includes twice-weekly nonstop service from Honolulu to Boston. The service to New York City is also coming back 3 times a week. Flights from Lihue to LA and Oakland and Kahului to San Diego and San Francisco are also returning.
New today, President Trump posted video online from his interview with 60 Minutes journalist Leslie Stahl. President Trump walked out of the interview, and he says this video will show that Stahl tried to trap him. Chris Van Cleve reports.
President Trump cut short Tuesday's interview with 60 Minutes correspondent Leslie Stahl at the White House. It was Stahl's third interview with the president and included tense moments.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on.
From there, the discussion grew more contentious. President Trump threatened to post the entire interview before its Sunday air date. Thursday, the White House did exactly that. CBS News responded with a statement saying the White House's unprecedented decision to disregard their agreement with CBS News and release their footage will not deter 60 Minutes from providing its full, fair, and contextual reporting, which presidents have participated in for decades. A senior White House official tells CBS News the president felt the interview was unfair and wanted to make it public. 60 Minutes released its own excerpts, showing the president's growing irritation at being pressed for answers.
Tell people to wear
But you
masks.
don't.
Leslie, we hand out thousands of masks.
But you
at
look
every
out and
rally.
they're not wearing them. And you don't say, please put on
Well,
your
have you-
mask.
Some media experts are calling the president's decision to release the video a form of distraction.
In this case, the president's doing it in order to blunt whatever the result would be when this thing airs.
Is it also an attempt to bully journalists?
No doubt. I mean, look, the president has said that one of his great tactics is to constantly call into question the public's trust of journalism.
60 Minutes says the interview with President Trump and another with former Vice President Joe Biden will air as planned this Sunday. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
On Capitol Hill, the Senate Judiciary Committee approved Judge Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court, even with all 10 Democrats on the committee, including Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono, boycotting the vote.
She is very much in line with her mentor, Justice Scalia. Combine that with her outlier view of precedent, where she says it is up to every justice to decide for herself what the Constitution requires, and if precedent does not align with that, down goes the president. That is why Roe v. Wade is at risk. That is why Obergefell is at risk.
The committee's approval cleared the way for a full Senate vote on Monday. President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden are preparing to square off for their final debate tonight in Nashville. There are new rules this time, including a mute feature on microphones. Natalie Brand has a preview.
The stage is set for the final showdown between President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Plexiglass is visible around the candidates' podiums, and there will also be new rules to try and curb the chaos that occurred during their first matchup in Cleveland.
It's like 2 kindergartners going at it.
I'm interested in them having a debate about what they're actually talking about.
A mute button will allow each candidate 2 uninterrupted minutes to answer questions before an open discussion.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair.
The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows the president trailing in key swing states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. President Trump has remained on the campaign trail this week, while Biden has been prepping out of the public eye and relying on top surrogate and former boss President Barack Obama.
It could come down to a handful of voters just like you.
Tonight's matchup in Nashville will be the final time the candidates share the stage to make their closing cases, and strategy could be key. Some advisors are suggesting the president take a more low-key approach.
The last thing I'd say to the president, just have fun, be happy, let Biden talk, let him explain away.
Biden is bracing for more personal attacks on him and his son, but advisors say he'll focus on the issues.
He's looking forward to having an opportunity to speak directly to the American people about what he's going to do to bring us back from this horrific COVID-19 pandemic.
More than 42 million Americans have already cast their ballots, with just 12 days to go until the election. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Nashville.
Couple programming notes right here on KHNL. You can watch the debate at 3 o'clock. That means no first at 4 today, but we'll have a wrap up on our later evening newscast. Also, speaking of Campaign 2020, Sunrise had an awesome preview show this morning. It was like a full hour that really let you know what was up ahead in the weeks ahead. They've made it into a podcast. You can find it anywhere you find your podcasts if you want to listen to it. I highly suggest it if you want to be an informed voter. Let's turn it over to Guy Hoggy now with a check of our weather.
How's it on this Thursday? That disturbance stubbornly is sitting over Kauai and Oahu, so we could see more isolated heavy downpours, isolated thunderstorms for the west end of the state. Drier conditions for the rest of the islands from Maui all the way to the Big Island, but they could see some afternoon showers as well. And there's some spotty downpours just heading into Oahu this morning, so it's going to be a little bit of a damp start to the day for Oahu at least. And everybody will get those light winds, and that means everybody's going to have very humid, sticky conditions. Today is going to be much like yesterday. Again, most of the rain will favor Kauai and Oahu, but the rainfall that does come in will be spotty in nature, not widespread. But we could see a fair bit of rainfall come in from those events. And then look at the temperatures, 90 in Kahului, but it's going to feel more like 95 with the humidity levels being so high. Now, as far as the surf, it's going to be a relatively small day island-wide today. And the thing to look forward to, at least if you're an experienced surfer, is a big swell is due in over the weekend. Saturday, late Saturday, north and west shores will pick up to maybe near advisory levels. This is a wintertime swell. It's going to be pretty big. North-northwest direction, so not every spot's going to be working well. So we've got that the unstable disturbance sitting over Kauai and Oahu today and tomorrow with the possibility for heavy rain. And then lighter rainfall expected, but windward and Mauka showers expected starting on Saturday with a long stretch of humid weather continuing into Wednesday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
From outrageous family dynamics and culture clashes to jaw-dropping mother-son rituals, TLC's new series, I Love a Mama's Boy, is about to premiere on Sunday. It follows a different kind of relationship between a girlfriend, boyfriend, and his mother. Here's a preview.
It's just a lot more challenging than I initially thought it would be because Matt and her are so close. They work together, so they carpool in the morning. Kelly and Matt are always planning something. I'm totally the third wheel with them.
What do you think Kim and I need to do for Valentine's Day?
I think you need to spice it up.
Oh my God. I'm like right here, you know.
Okay, that was a little awkward. Today I got a chance to talk with some of the show's stars.
Hi. Hello, Jonathan.
I'm joined now by Kim, Matt, and Kelly McAdams. Well, Matt, this might be a little hard to answer sitting between them, but what's it like having to choose between these two women competing for your heart?
Yeah, you asked me that right when I'm in between them. That's perfect. That's perfect. No, I think you can. I think we definitely have made it work. It's a struggle sometimes, but definitely, I think you can make it work. And I think the most important thing is having the right partner.
Also have to ask what it was like to shoot this reality series amid the pandemic.
Yeah, so we had started filming right before COVID, and then COVID took over the world, and we put a pause on things for a little bit, picked back up, and I'll definitely say that the pandemic didn't make things easier for our living situation. It definitely increased the tensions in the house. I mean, we're not used to all being around each other 24/7. At least I'm not. I know Matt and Kelly are fine with it.
It worked out for Mom and I. We were able to both work from home together. So that was an extra 8 hours a day that we basically got to hang out at home while we were working. You know, Kim was rationing the toilet paper against what Mom wanted. So they fought over the rationings for that.
It was awful.
Little awkward, and so sorry about the back shaving
I
shot.
know,
that
no
was
heads
in
up
the
or
video.
anything,
That
John.
was so-
People are eating lunch right now.
I'm sorry, guys. Let's move on. Here we go. Oh, this is pretty.
Yeah, so Big Island police are investigating the theft of a valuable piece of art by a famous American painter. Now, police say an oil slick painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat and miscellaneous jewelry were stolen from a residence on 40th Avenue in Curtistown on October 14th. Experts say Basquiat is responsible for elevating graffiti artists into the realm of the New York gallery scene. And to give you an idea of how valuable his work is, in 2017, one of his paintings became the first piece of art created after 1980 to be auctioned off at over $100 million. Now, anyone with information about the theft is asked to call Big Island Police.
When you said $100 million, I tried to whistle like it was exciting. That's a lot of money.
That is
It's huge.
big bucks.
And I know he inspired even our next artist we're going to talk about, right?
That's right. So speaking of art, Banksy's most recent painting is now the second most expensive piece the artist has ever sold. Here's Ian Lee.
At first glance, it looks like a Monet, down to the lily pads. But things aren't always what they seem. This is a Banksy.
We have arrived at Show Me the Monet, one of the most important paintings of Banksy's provocative career.
Sotheby's in London auctioned off the painting.
I'm going to start the bidding at $2,500,000.
Bidders around the globe quickly ran up the price. This auction comes a year after another Banksy painting of the British Parliament replaced by chimps smashed his record, selling for more than $12 million.
Banksy is today one of the most sought-after artists. He's really made that step from being a much-loved figure in popular culture to actually being one of the most desirable collectible artists of our times.
This auction didn't disappoint. Show Me the Monet sold for plenty of Monet.
Selling to you, Patty, at £6,400,000.
While it didn't break his record, it sold for nearly $10 million. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
All right, you guys, Guinness is launching an alcohol-free version of its famous Irish stout. Now, the company says it spent 4 years developing the product, which is lighter on the waistline with less than half the calories. It goes on sales in stores in the UK and Ireland next week and will be offered in pubs in the spring. It will arrive in more markets across the world later in 2021.
Can't tell you about the taste, but cool can.
Yeah, and after the chicken sandwich craze, Wendy's has a new sandwich, but you probably haven't heard about it yet. That's because the chain quietly rolled out the premium classic chicken sandwich. It replaces the home-style chicken sandwich, which was Wendy's menu item for at least a decade. Now, the classic chicken sandwich is available now just under $5, but if you have the Wendy's app, you get $2 off.
You know what? I tried out the spicy nuggets from McDonald's.
Oh, how were they?
Very tasty.
Spicy?
Not too spicy. I'm not one for too much spice,
Okay.
but they were good, really good. You guys, want to remind you, big costume contest coming up on This Is Now. It's our first ever anniversary for our digital debut of This Is Now. It happened a year ago.
That's
I can't
crazy.
believe that. So this is what we're doing to celebrate. We want you to send us our pictures. You can find the submission on H&N digital platforms. It's so easy to submit. A lot of you are already doing it. They have to be in by Wednesday, and then Ashley and I are going to pick the finalists, and then you go to our Instagram account, the H&N Instagram account, and then your likes will choose the top 3 winners. I just want to run through a few of the submissions right here. Any guesses on what that is?
A gerbil?
Correct.
Cute.
And so creative. I love it. And then we've got, is that Betty?
Bam Bam and
Pebbles.
Pebbles.
And this one got into the theme of the year. I don't really know what it is, but it's a cute dog.
A toilet paper hoarder?
Yeah, no, maybe that's it. But you can see people are already getting creative, and I promise Ashley and I will too for our special 1-year anniversary show on that Friday the 30th.
And we have cool prizes too, guys.
Yes, and we're going to announce those next week, so stay tuned.